If you are feeling frozen, disconnected, or overwhelmed, you are not alone, and there is a way home. This episode invites you into a practice of remembering your deep kinship with wild earth and the steady, sacred pulse of spirit within you. Join me for a practice in connecting to spirit. Welcome. You are listening to Our Mindful Nature, a podcast helping healers and those searching for healing respond to anxiety, overwhelm, or depression with nature-inspired meditations for better mental health. I'm your host and meditation teacher, Meryl Arnett. This podcast is recorded from my live Monday night meditation class. If you would like to access today's meditation practice or nature soundscape as a standalone audio file for your daily use, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. All right, y'all, grab a cup of tea, pop in your headphones, and find a comfy seat. All right, friends, happy Monday. Thank you for taking time to be here tonight and to practice with me. So I have been thinking a lot, as usual these days, about how we support ourselves through this state of, I think some of us probably experience that sort of frozen overwhelm, and some of us probably experience like an always on activism. And there's not a lot of bridging in between those two states in this moment, right? Between political chaos and climate crisis and, the perpetual sense of disconnection that each of us face in modern life. There's not a lot of bridging between those two states. And I have been spending a lot of time thinking and exploring how our meditation practice really supports us in creating that bridge, because living on one end of the spectrum just doesn't do us much good, right? Whether it's frozen overwhelm or always on activism, both of those deplete us. Both of those lead to an intense level of imbalance. And what we're looking to do is be able to sort of be a little flexible, right? Be a little fluid in how we move across the bridge of emotional states, especially when things feel particularly heightened. And so one of the explorations that we're going to look at is using our practice as a way to connect to a sense of spirit or source. And this can be a tricky one to talk about because what a personal thing, right? Each of us likely has our own positive and or negative associations with spirit. We use different words, we use different means to connect, and all of that is welcome to be here. So I'm not here to tell you you have to do it a certain way. I am here to invite a particular reflection for today that I hope lands with at least most of you. And it's really drawing from a philosophical exploration by an author named David Hinton, and in particular from one of his books titled Wild Mind, Wild Earth. And in the beginning of the book, he posits the entire discussion, so to speak, on this moment in time in ancient Greek philosophy where a transcendental realm was conjured up. A realm that was separate from the earthly embodied experience. This was a realm of thought, a realm of idea, a realm later on that became sort of like the soul is there and the body is down here, right? So sort of an up and a down. And it really ultimately created a dualism, a vast rupture between mind and earth. Prior to that, when we look back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors, it was assumed that we were kindred to Earth. There was no us, them, or us and things, right? So, source, spirit, the sacred was the earth. It was all of the elements, the animals, the plants, the experience. And we were earth. We were part of that. There was no hierarchy yet. And this is a really interesting place to reflect because, this is so far gone. And that sort of dualistic realm of idea belief is so pervasive, so embedded in our culture that we don't really think to notice it or question it or wonder what else was or is or could be. And of course, it's sort of lovely, right? Because if we have this pure transcendental realm of perfect idea, never changing, steady, always able to be understood in some way, shape, or form, in comparison to a wild earth that is changing every second of every day, and we are perpetually having to reestablish steady footing. It would be easy to pick the transcendental realm. Like, well, that's much easier. Let's just look to the lovely over here and not associate with what might be difficult or challenging and ever changing. But the beautiful thing about connecting to Earth as source is that there's no thinking involved. We don't have to understand. We are not going to be in the land of I think, therefore I am. We all are thinking more than enough right now. I am confident. I bet most of us, the wheels are spinning like 99.9% of the time. This connection to source through earth is purely feeling. It is the sensorial experience of the smell of cut grass or pine needles, the sound of a summer thunderstorm, the sight of a wildflower, right? And we know this, like if you look at little children and you see the way they just immediately respond to nature. They don't need a prompt. They don't need a nudge to be like, look at this cool ladybug. Let me pick it up and show it to you and like talk about it for hours. Let me look at this plant and create a whole story around it. It's so innate in them. And truthfully, it's so innate in us in the way that, all these moments of awe that we have been talking about, class after class after class, how many of them are related to a starry expanse or that moment at dusk when like the light does just the thing and the breeze hits you just that way, right? Or you see the waterfall, the water's coming down and you just have that moment of pure pause, right? That connection is so innate, so embedded in a cellular way. And so when we think about pulling our meditation practice into that wild mind, wild earth connection, what we're talking about doing is reestablishing our sense of steadiness, our sense of balance, and our capacity, excuse me, our capacity to be with the wild and know that that's not necessarily a problem. Because we're pretty cultured to be like, oh, that chaos is a problem. I need to be in the transcendental realm of the ideal, right? I need Instagram picture perfect to be okay. And none of us have that in real life, right? We don't. Our houses are messy. Our lives are loud. We have too many emails and like not enough time. That's just part of our wild, chaotic life. And as we can connect with the wild and know it not as a problem, does it create capacity for us to move across that bridge between frozen overwhelm and always on activism with a little bit more fluidity? So I want us to practice tonight connecting to source through wild earth. And as we do, at some point in the practice, I'm going to bring in the phrase so hum, which some of you, I'm confident, know. So hum is Sanskrit, and most often it is translated as I am that. I am that, meaning I am spirit. I am source. I am wild earth. It's also said to be the sound of the breath. So the inhale is so, and the exhale is hum. And that mantra creates for us both a rhythm and a connection to wild earth, to wild mind, and to that embodied sense of connection, rather than the sort of ruptured, like, I need to go up and out to be connected to spirit. When what we want is to go down and in. Yeah? So let's do this practice together, yeah? Take a moment to get comfortable. Find a steady seat. Let your arms rest and your legs rest. If you'd like to close your eyes, please feel free. If you'd rather have a soft gaze down towards the earth, you're welcome to do so. When you feel ready, let's start with a nice full inhale in. And we'll exhale out a sigh. And then just take your time to do that again, inhaling deeply, gathering up your day thus far. And exhale, let go of a sigh. And then allow your breath just to flow. And silently say to yourself, now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. And as you say those words to yourself, feel them as a calling. A calling to drop down and into your own body. We move out of the realm of thinking and into the realm of feeling. And so you might start simply by letting go of any of the obvious tension in your body. Softening all your edges. Releasing any gripping, especially in the belly, across the shoulders, and through the jaw. And over the course of these first few breaths, feel or imagine yourself drawing a circle around your body. A circle of any color, texture, or material. And we let this circle serve as protection. A circle to hold at bay the outside world just for a moment. All of those demands, the distractions, the to-dos. This circle allows you to settle a little deeper into your practice. And this circle is also permeable. The circle lets in the sounds, the smells, the feeling of the forest around you. The circle lets in exactly what is needed right now. As you feel yourself settling, you might just start to turn your attention towards your breath. Feeling yourself breathe in. Feeling yourself breathe out. And if it feels right to you, just a few times on the breath, you might just call out silently. Spirit of the universe. Spirit of the universe. Spirit of the universe. Simply naming the connection that you seek. And noticing the response of the wind, of birdsong. You might hear leaves or drips of water. You might scent deer musk or honeysuckle or damp stone. And all the while your breath is flowing in. And breath is flowing out. And gradually, you hear a sound on your breath. As you breathe in, you hear so. And as you exhale, you hear hum. Inhaling so. Exhaling hum. And as we settle into about 10 minutes of silence, gently stay with that mantra. So hum. Knowing every breath reaffirms, I am that. I am that. Connected to source, connected to spirit, connected to wilder. So hum. And feeling your breath. And hearing so hum. Feeling connected to source, to spirit, wild earth to wild mind. We deepen our breath a bit here, wiggling into fingers, toes, feeling your edges, feeling where you are and when you are. And when you're ready, taking a deep breath in and releasing a sigh. And taking all the time you need to let go of your practice, to blink your eyes open if they were closed. Thank you, guys. As we close today's practice, I invite you to carry this sense of deep connection with you, the remembrance that you are not separate from the earth, but made of it, moved by it, held by it. By reconnecting to spirit and wild earth through breath, feeling, and presence, we begin to heal the rupture that leaves us frozen in overwhelm. Through this episode, you've been offered 3 gifts: a simple, powerful practice to ground and calm your nervous system, a pathway to restore clarity, purpose, and wise movement in chaotic times, and a deeper, more intuitive connection to spirit, earth, and your own true nature. May you continue to breathe, to feel, and to belong exactly as you are, exactly where you are. So hum. Thanks for listening to Our Mindful Nature. If you would like to receive today's meditation practice and nature soundscape as standalone audio files for your daily practice, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. It's free and you'll receive a new practice each week. Our Mindful Nature is recorded on Muskogee land and is produced with the support of Nick McMahon and Brianna Nielsen. Deep gratitude is offered to acoustic ecologists Nick McMahon and Gordon Hempton for the use of their nature field recordings in many of these episodes. We release a mini episode that's just the meditation, no chatter beforehand, every Monday. And every Thursday, we release a full episode with a meditation class or interview. I look forward to practicing with you again soon.